It's the 23rd of July 2016, and it's one of those hotter than Hades days where even if you have a breeze, it's a hot one. There used to be a house over in here, and there was a beautiful lilac bush that used to bloom every spring. Now it's deserted, torn down, and we've metal detected here, but never found much. The ground's got a lot of stone in it, driveway type stone, so it's very, very hard to detect. Old pine trees. And like I said, over in here, there used to be a house. And in that house area, there was this beautiful lilac bush that used to bloom, big one, right in here. I guess that's it still. Alright, I'm gonna move on and take you on another little section of place here in Susquehanna, coming on Turnpike Road or Turnpike Street, whatever. I always called it Turnpike Street, but some people call it Turnpike Road. Alright, let's see if I can back out without cars coming and detouring me away. Alright, and over in here is the old Catholic cemetery. I think the newer grave markers are right there, newer graves. Oops, let me get up here and I'll be able to show you a little more. There's some of the older ones. I'm going a little fast here. Not fast, but fast. It looks like I'm going quicker than I really am. Alright, let me get up here in the shade a little bit and I'll show you what's going on. What's what. Okay. These are some of the older graves. And it's a Catholic cemetery right here. Over here across from it is the dump that I've dug for years. I wish the fellow that owned it would get out with his backhoe and do a little bit of clearing out again. Let me see. Gosh, it's like I can't get focus here today for some odd reason. There we go. But all over in there is piles of ash. And over down in here too. He lives up on the hill. And a lot of really good stuff there over the years. It's a pretty neat, small, out-of-town trash area where they dumped this stuff. I'm going to say probably in the early 1900s. Because I have found stuff from the 1800s as well, and then I found some stuff, really, really neat things, even from the railroad, like an old baggage conductor tag and things like that. Pretty neat. Alright, I'm just going up here a little tad bit further. Yeah, I wish that he would take his backhoe and churn some of that up, because that's where the good stuff comes out. But I don't see anything. I don't see any changes since I've been here last. Nothing at all. Nope. Oh well. As you see, there's more of the cemetery over here. With the older graves. Usually in the later part of the afternoon, there's a lot of buzzards or turkey buzzards that hover around these pines. I don't see any right now, and it's quiet. You can really hear them too. When they're there, they're there. You know, when I die, I'd love to have a grave marker, but I don't know if we'll be able to afford it. I'll probably have a cremation, and who knows, my ashes will be nowhere. No one will want them. Anyway, I'm going over here. It's a little A little hot today, as I said, just a little hot. And there's the pile again of ash. Alright, I am going to, see, he's way up the hill. His driveway's up the hill there. Nice old guy. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. I'll show you as I go along what's what. Okay. I wonder years ago when this was just a dirt strip, they would take their wagons or buggies or whatever and go along here out of town and head up towards North Jackson and Gillette and South Gibson and all those little towns up further on the way to Lenox. There's an old house there. It's hard to do it through the windshield, you know, it's like it's really cloudy, but it's one of those days it's a little bit on the hazy side. There's some blue sky, but for the most part it's awfully hazy. It is summertime, which I love summertime. Even though it's hot, you can go inside and keep cool, and usually later in the evening it cools down around here and you can go outside and do chores and things like that. But I often wonder, well, you didn't know any different back then. I was going to say those that never grew up and had air conditioning, or maybe there wasn't, you know, back then there wasn't such a thing. How incredibly hot it used to be, but I guess they dealt with it. Yeah, you just do what you have to do. You stay in the shade, you know, as much as you can, and if you have to work, you do what you have to do. So anyway, I'm over here. Dried bamboo along the side of the road. Whoops, whoops, whoops. It seems like we're going fast and we're not. I'm only going, I'm gonna say 20 miles an hour, but it seems like I'm going so much faster. All right. They don't have pavement markings. They just resurfaced the road here, so I guess I'll get to that next week sometime. It's Saturday, so they don't have the workers out today. So I'm traveling south and heading back home. Yep, it is a good day to be out, to check around, to look around. There's really nobody on the road right now, and that's a good thing. Quiet, I can drive as fast or slow as I please. Well, I don't drive fast anyway. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a little more maybe sensible or timid, or both. So anyways, in the old days I would have loved to have dug there, that dump, but today it's hot, and kind of a long story about that place. I think a lot about things as I've gotten older. I think about things I did when I was young, some of the good times, and there were a lot of good times, especially bottle digging and adventuring around and things like that. And when you're growing up, if you're blessed, you don't have a lot of worries. And I didn't have a lot of worries. I had good parents and secure life for the most part. Everything went pretty well. I was a little headstrong, a little rebellious, and when I reached my teenage years, my dad and I clashed a bit. But I never got into drugs or drinking or any of that sort of stuff. Never got in trouble with the law. Thank the Lord for all that. You know, I had my share of ornery things I did, and, you know, one thing I really regret is I had a wonderful set of grandparents on my mother's side. We called them Nana and Granddad. And they were the best. My Nana loved me, told me so, told me I was her pet, and she believed believed in me, and that was important. In fact, I always thought as I got older, as long as she was around, I'd be safe. I treated her dirty. I was a dirty, rotten girl at one point. I stole and things I shouldn't from her wallet, and I have terrible regrets to this day. And that was 40 some years ago. I, as I said, loved her so very much, and she treated me so well. And once you've done things and you never ask forgiveness, it's like there's really nothing you can do about it other than, you know, try to forgive yourself. Realize that at that point in your life, when you were young, you did foolish things. And I know she would have forgiven me. And I'm believing that one day I'll see her again. So anyway, I'm up to the detour here. There's a detour. They're redoing the road down in town. There's a problem with it. So I'm traveling up here on 92 South. There used to be a, well, it's still there, but it's fallen down. There's a barn over here that I used to get into and look for stuff. It's so overgrown now you can't see a thing. Oh boy. But anyway, I'm going back. I'm just having these reflections of my life. And I had a good relationship until I reached my teenage years with my parents. And again, I was one of those kind of like rebellious, headstrong, I want to do it my way kind of teenagers. And my dad and I clashed. In latter years, we worked things out, and we never got to the point where we didn't talk or anything. And one thing that really left me, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but I wasn't allowed to see my father before he died, but I did talk to him at the nursing home in July before that following March when he passed away. And we reconciled, we talked, and had a wonderful talk that day, and told him I loved him, he told me he loved me, and that meant everything. Because when you're not permitted to see your loved one for stupid reasons, most of it's a jealousy thing I'm not going to even go into, but it really leaves you with a grief, uncontrollable grief that I was saying to my husband earlier today, there's no way, no matter what, that I'll ever be able to get over it, because I couldn't see my dad for a couple years before he passed. I wasn't allowed to see him. I went to his funeral, and I'm not going to even go into all of that either, but my dad loved me. I always knew that, but I think he and I were so much alike, even though we're not blood related, that we clashed, and that wasn't a good thing. But one thing I've learned is while you're alive, do reconcile, because once someone is passed on, you can't talk to them, you can't explain yourself, you can't hear them say I forgive you, I love you. So do it now, and for God's sake, don't hold things against other people. Love conquers all. And yes, I'm a Christian, I'm not perfect. Don't look to me for any kind of role model or anything like that. Look to Christ and look to Him only. I'm not preaching at you or to you, I'm just sharing my own life and things I've gone through to try to help you through my experiences. And I'm still praying for some people in my life that I love dearly that have problems and need to learn to love and need to learn to forgive and need to learn to treat people with love and mutual respect and talk. Above all, if you have a problem with someone, talk to them. Don't treat them, you know, like you don't care. Don't treat them with contempt and unforgiveness. As I said, because one day they're not going to be on this earth, and you're not going to be able to say goodbye. And that's a horrible, horrible thing to have to go through. So that's my advice to you guys, my YouTube subscribers and people that are watching this. This is Lady Digger in PA. Just adding my 2 cents to life. And again, I just want to thank you for watching, for subscribing, for putting up with my sometimes poor quality videoing. I'm working on it, but driving along is really a hard thing to do the videoing perfectly. So we'll be back soon, and take care. God bless.